Kentucky loses to Louisville, gets blown out. Ohio State wins the big game. Lane Kiffin jumps ship to LSU, and Kentucky brings in a new guy. We'll talk about it here. This is Yelling from the Couch. I'm Brent Humphreys, joined as always on the college football edition of this podcast by my co-host Gordon Chatterton. Gordon, how we doing over there, man? You're coming off of a big win Saturday. You got to be feeling pretty good.
Oh, I was excited. Worst part about it is I couldn't watch it, so I game casted. My wife was watching it and sending me messages. You was watching it, sending me messages. So I was pretty well informed. I loved it. It was great. Oh, by the way, the name of the show is Yelling from the Couch. I'm in a chair. Ah! Okay, I'm done.
Yeah, so other day, Saturday, we're going to get right into it right here, right now. I started watching the Kentucky game because on this podcast, man, me and you both were like, Kentucky could win this thing. They could be bowl eligible, and here we go. They could be in a bowl game, postseason for Kentucky. And Kentucky came out, and actually Kentucky didn't come out. What am I talking about? They didn't even show up to play for that game. Louisville, a walk-on freshman from Ashland, Kentucky, runs for over 100 yards on that defense, and they just dominate Kentucky from the start. 41-0 in Louisville's place. An embarrassing performance from a team that quit and a coach who didn't make it past the weekend after that. We'll get into that here in just a second, but from the game point, I'm really not too happy with how the game went, of course, but knowing what happened afterwards, it's something that I was saying needed to be happened midway through this season. You agreed with me. We had several yell or no yell topics about it. But for the game purposes, Miller Moss, he was hurt all week, last couple of weeks. He comes back in. And, Kentucky makes this running back look like Jonathan Taylor out here for Louisville, a freshman walk-on, fifth-string running back, putting over 100 against a defense that we thought was pretty decent, man. Just a lackluster performance. I know you didn't get to catch the game, but you probably seen some highlights you probably seen something from the game. I know you heard some things from me Saturday about it. But, yeah, man, what was your thoughts on that game in particular?
Rather disappointed. I thought don't get me wrong, even if they lost, I thought it was going to be close. I thought it was going to be a nail-biter. Either two good defenses or two crappy offenses. But either way, I thought it was going to be close. It wasn't even close. I said that walk-on freshman looked like the second coming of Barry Sanders, evidently, flying all over the field, breaking tackles, spinning, hitting massive circle button, just putting a tornado around him going. I saw one of the lowlights, and I think he did a spin swivel move and broke three Kentucky defenders' ankles. I'm not sure. I didn't watch the game. Maybe I saw something else, but that's sure what the hell it looked like to me. It was just bad. Believe me, if I'd have been watching, I'd probably said the same thing you said. Halfway through the line. I'm going to watch the other game.
And, Jennings was the running back. He ran for 113. That wasn't bad enough. Their other running back comes in. Maybe he's a six-stringer. Maybe he's the fourth-stringer. I don't know. He had 101 yards rushing, too, as well. Kentucky just could not stop the run at all. Miller Moss, 182 yards. 3 touchdowns, no picks. Just dominant performance. Cutter Boley, he cracked the 100-yard mark. Congratulations. 2 picks thrown from him. Dowdell led the team in rushing at 27 yards and 22 yards. This team, by the middle part of that game, first part of that game, they quit. There was a pass over the middle on 4th down to Kendrick Law. They were down 21-0, 27-0, whatever it was. I think it's 27-0. And they throw a pass over the middle to Kendrick Law and right in his hands, and he drops it on 4th down. And then he's just like, oh, well, back over the sideline. The team quit at the end of the season. It was embarrassing for Kentucky. And what happened the next day, they fired Mark Stoops, which is what needed to happen for a fresh start for this team, fresh start for everybody. Now, before I say anything too negative about Mark Stoops, actually, you know what? I'm going to say some negative about Mark Stoops. The last 2 years have been pitiful. Piss poor effort from them. Preparation-wise, easy for me to say. He didn't have his teams prepared most of the times. And in the press conference, he'd be like, we got to get back to work. We got to get back to work. We got to get back to work. Well, let's get to work the first time to begin with. How about we do that? That's where you could have started. He had a good run. Kentucky, he's the best football coach Kentucky has had wins-wise. Now, there was a guy named Bear Bryant back in the 50s, went off to Alabama and had a whole lot of success. maybe he's the greatest coach of all time. But in my lifetime, Mark Stoops, the best coach Kentucky's had. He's took him to places I never thought they would go. 10-win seasons a couple of times, 8 straight bowl games. I mean, Gordon, I know you're an Ohio State fan here, and that's a whole different for you. But for me to go to 8 straight bowls as a Kentucky fan and get 10 wins in the season, that's a pretty big deal over here. I mean, and you know, they finally get rid of him. It was the right time. It was exactly the right time to get rid of him. They made the right decision in that to fire Mark Stoops.
Actually, I think you brought it up last year that you thought Mark Stoops needed to go. You wasn't as passionate about it, but I do believe you did say it a couple times. Said, you know, I think the team would be better if Mark Stoops was gone by next year. But we'll get into it. One of my topics on our Yell or No Yell is the potential of what they could have had. I know you're optimistic about next year because the coach said good offensive coordinator, Will Stein, right?
Yep.
Good offensive coordinator, but there's a possibility they could have had somebody else, and we'll get into that here in a little bit.
And this is the only time I'm going to make this joke here on this show, but yes, you're right. They hired in Will Stein. I really liked him when he played for the Kentucky team that went 38-1. He was a good player there for the basketball team a few years, Willie Cauley-Stein. Don't know how much he knows about football, but apparently he's been doing pretty good at Oregon. So that's all right. That's the last time I'm making that joke here. We got it, you know. So, Gordon, let's go on. Let's get off the Kentucky subject real quick. Once again, you know, hey, it was time to go for Mark Stoops, but he when they hired him in, he was what they needed at that time. And that time has ran out. So we move on. And we're going to move on in this show right here. And let's get to it, Gordon. You got to be pretty excited, man. The game, The Michigan Wolverines had a 4-game winning streak over the Ohio State Buckeyes. Ryan Day had never beat them as a head coach.
No, because the 2020 season, his first year, we had the pandemic, and they didn't play. That was the only year, I think, in the entire time of the rivalry that the two teams didn't play each other because they suspended the rest of the regular season. But no, okay, if you want to know my opinion, should he have won in 2021? Yes. Should he have won in 22? Yes. 23? No, that was a really good team. So no, I mean that was one where I didn't think they was going to win anyways. But 24
definitely should have won that.
Could have if they had got their heads out of their ass and quit trying to run the ball up the middle and Michigan's strength. Just kept trying to do it, kept trying to do it, and kept trying to do it, and couldn't do it. We know why they didn't win in 21 and 22. Probably 23 had something to do with it too, but they did have a good team that year. Because of
Connor Stallions.
Yeah. Harbaugh stole my sign. Yeah. I have a sign here. He can't have it. It's mine.
Yeah, I had a sign here, but Harbaugh. Yeah. Bill Engvall stole.
Yeah, that had. But and you hear UM fans out there all the time going, talk about the flag planting. I don't think I've ever seen Ohio State ever attempt to try to plant a flag. Now, they've stopped people from trying to plant flags in their field. I think Baker Mayfield probably almost got pile drove by Joey Bosa that one year because they had to hold Bosa back. And I do believe the guy last year that tried to plant it would have tried to plant that flag. If he'd have got it, he'd probably got knocked in the next week by Jack Sawyer because he took the flag and chucked it.
Yeah, I was hoping for a plant flagging moment here for a fight to break out once again. Because it was rivalry week, and that was the big thing going on last year. And I don't remember seeing any flag planting this week. But, man, it would have been nice to see, I thought, from my point of view.
Well, yeah, for your point of view. Me too, but Ohio State's never done that, never tried to plant the flag.
So that, to me, Gordon, plant flagging is kind of like – or flag planting, plant flagging. Flag planting, to me, is kind of like storming the court in basketball. Your big blue blood teams don't storm the court in basketball. Kentucky, they don't storm the court. Duke doesn't storm the court. North Carolina, Kansas. In football, Ohio State, you don't plant a flag. You don't storm the field. It's all about who you are, right? If you're the bigger school, you don't do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because you've been there before.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, the first year they won, I kind of get it because they went 7 years in a row, but they couldn't beat Urban Meyer. They couldn't even come. They came close one year, but that was it. And then who was the guy before him? Well, Luke Fickell, but they beat him, but he had a 6-6 record.
Jim Tressel.
Yeah, the sweater vest. I knew his outfit, but I couldn't remember his name for life.
Youngstown.
Yeah, Youngstown boys with Maurice Claret.
Mark Stoops, also a boy from Youngstown. But anyways, we've already moved on from that.
we'd ventured across that plane.
Yeah.
But yeah, couldn't beat Jim Tressel, couldn't beat Urban Meyer. I said they beat Jim Tressel. I mean Luke Fickle, but he wasn't much of a offensive person. And besides, he only had like 1 month to prepare for the season. He didn't have time to get his game plan, nothing. Coaching staff. He just took whatever Mark Tressel had left over and didn't find another job and just did with that. He had a lot of junior assistants. That was his coaching staff. But on the other hand, though, did play him good. Almost beat him because they couldn't move the ball. One of your old Bengals was on that team, Sam Hubbard.
Yeah. Well, this past Saturday they won 27-9. Michigan actually had a lead in this game for a second, and I was like, "Oh boy, here we go." Ohio State couldn't do a whole lot for part of the game. Michigan's got a tough defense. I'll give them that. Just saying, they kind of got something going in the a little bit. He finally threw to Cornell Tate a little bit. He's back off injury after a month. Bo Jackson had a pretty big game. Goes for over 100 in this one. Gordon.
Yeah, and Jeremiah Smith only had 40
40 for 40.
Yeah, 3 catches, 40 yards, and a touchdown. Tate had 5 for 82 and a touchdown. Yeah, but that bomb to Tate was nice. That was pretty. Which went along with what I said later. He's about one of the best deep threats in college football.
That was the only thing I missed in my parlay the other day. I had a little parlay in the Ohio State-Michigan game, and the only thing that missed was Jeremiah Smith yards. I had him for 60. He only got 40, but hey, it's whatever. Ohio State gets the win, still the number 1 team in the land, and they move forward to the Big Ten Championship, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. Of course, we're going to pick it. But, yeah, man, you got finally win the game. Ryan Day, him and Moore had the conversation at the end of the game, and Ryan Day's like, we need to get these guys out of here. There's not going to be plant flagging or anything like this, but for everybody's safety, we need to get everybody out of here.
Yeah. Yeah, let's get everybody moving.
Yep, and that was the smart thing to do. Like you said, it sounds like somebody who's been there before, even though he hadn't been there before as a winner in that game.
Yeah.
But he wasn't ready to start anything, he's had bigger fish to fry, pretty much, is what.
He's got a big one coming up this Saturday. But like you said, we're going to be talking about that in a second.
Oh, yeah. So, Gordon, you said that you've got a player that you want to mention here in the segment where we kind of showcase the underutilized talent, unknown talent, the underappreciated talent. Now, me, on the other hand, I'm going to fully admit, last week I watched the Louisville-Kentucky game for a little bit past halftime, and I was like, nope, no more. Turned on the game, end up watching the Ohio State-Michigan game. And then after that, I was just kind of like, the rest of the day. I had some games on, but I really wasn't focused on them. I had a Thanksgiving dinner I went to and everything. So I didn't really have a player that I focused in on this week. But Gordon's got one. And Gordon, who you got?
It's a defensive player from the Big 12.
That's odd.
Yes, it is. But when you hear the team, you're going to know why. Linebacker from Texas Tech.
Understand.
Romello, I think it's Romello Heights, linebacker. So far this season, he's got 8.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. He's got 31 tackles, but 16 of them was solo tackles. He was pretty good in that last game, last week. What I watched of it, I turned on and watched like a little bit of the third quarter because I was flipping back and forth in between the games. The 5 minutes I watched, I saw him in on 3 plays. And that's quite a bit in just 5 minutes of watching football. I'm not talking 5 minutes third time. I'm talking 5 minutes my time. Because, 5 minutes third time could be 25, 30 minutes. As fast as they score, clock stops, stuff like that. But no, 5 minutes, I saw him pop up there 3 times in the middle of a play, and one of them I do believe was a sack, or it's a tackle for the loss. Because I can't remember if they said the quarterback was running and he got him in the backfield, or he's going for a pass and sacked him. But it was that quick. He was back there 3 times. I said, either one of our teams could use that because he can tackle.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big thing that my team could use is somebody that could tackle, that's for sure. Even though we'll talk about it, we're recording this right before we record our NFL podcast, but even though the Cincinnati Bengals did have 5 turnovers against the Baltimore Ravens and looked pretty good on defense, they can still use a linebacker from Texas Tech. If you're going to use one from the Big 12, that'd be the team to use it from.
Oh, yeah, well, especially the linebackers, because they're the ones that have to cover and stop the run and got the quarterback. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I said, 5 minutes of my time, I've seen him in 3 plays. I was like, okay, that sticks out.
Yeah, definitely so. So that's our player spotlight for the week. Romello
Heights
from Texas Tech.
I think that's his name. I could have said it wrong. I wrote it down. I wrote it down quickly.
And we'll roll with it. We'll roll with it. It's fine. Gordon, how many you got this week? All right, you got 3. I've got 3.
All right.
All right. We'll let you go ahead and you bat lead off here for us.
Okay, in the leadoff spot, I have Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, whatever. Either way.
Get the 3.
Yeah.
Anyways, Lane Kiffin. Okay, he left, went to LSU.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, he lied about the conversation with AD and the students. So if Ole Miss happens to make it to the championship game, if my team doesn't win, I kind of want them to win. And here's why. Because I want them to win and tell Lane Kiffin, no, you don't get a ring. You wasn't here for this. You coach a team in the playoff and you get a championship your damn self. Fight my ass. That's my point.
I can't yell enough with you on this, Gordon. I absolutely agree. This is why I am rooting for Ole Miss. Like you said, if your team doesn't get in there, guess who I'm pulling for? I'm pulling for Ole Miss. I want to see Ole Miss take it all the way, win a championship, turn around, middle fingers up, and call out Lane Kiffin in the post-game press conference while they're holding up the trophy. And telling what you just said right there. If you want a ring, you could take a ring and you could shove it, buddy, because you left us high and dry when we were in the title hunt to go for another team like Lane Kiffin. You've got a team in the college football playoff. You run off to LSU for more money to go win a championship. Hello? You've got a team in the playoffs right now. You've got a shot at the championship.
And if you would have won a championship with them, you could have damn near wrote your damn check.
And they would have built a statue. They would have named the stadium after him and everything in Oxford. You do that in LSU, guess what? You're just in line with the rest of them that's won a championship there. You're nothing else. But you could have been whatever in Ole Miss. And, I'm pulling for Ole Miss. I want to see Ole Miss go far. And like you said, no ring for you, Lane. You left us high and dry. You threatened to take our coaches. If you don't come with us now, you won't have a spot on the LSU roster or coaching staff? Huh? What is that? What is that all about?
I think he needs an infected hemorrhoid.
Yeah, I can't yell with you enough on that, man. So that brings me to my first topic of yell or no yelling. Guess what? It was Lane Kiffin too. It's a Lane Kiffin topic here. This is the biggest bunch of drama that you've heard of. Last week, before the Egg Bowl, there was a podcaster or a news reporter in Ole Miss, Oxford news reporter, whatever, covering the team. And he said on one of his podcasts that Lane Kiffin, if he goes to LSU, he referred to him as, I believe, you can't turn a hoe into a housewife, as referred to Lane Kiffin. And Kiffin, after the game, goes up to him. And he's like, do you think I'm a hoe? Are you calling me up? Like, what are we talking about here? Like, what is this conversation on the field? And then afterwards, like, the reporter says something like, something about the hoe and the housewife. I don't know what it was, but I mean, that's the first part of it, right? And then he decides he's going to LSU. And then he says, well, the Ole Miss administration wouldn't let me coach in the college football playoff. And then it turns out what was that, Gordon? That was a lie, for one. And then he says, he tells the coaching staff, if you want a spot on LSU coaching staff with me, you'll leave with me right now. And they're like, man, what kind of you're gutting that team that you've built up, that you've promised all these things, and you're leaving them high and dry before they go and play in the playoff. And you're making people have to make ultimatums and decisions like that. And Ole Miss is still going to the playoff regardless.
And I think it'd be great if they played each other next year and Ole Miss just mopped the damn floor with them.
They do. LSU goes to Oxford. Can you imagine that reception he's going to get?
He better have security.
So he coached Tennessee 1 year, went to USC, got fired there, went to Alabama, went to Ole Miss as a head coach. His first time back in Knoxville, they booed him out of the place. I think it's going to be nothing compared to what they're doing in Ole Miss next year. Did you see the pictures of the fans at the airport when his plane was taken off for Baton Rouge, Gordon? Have you seen that picture?
No, I have not.
Everybody in that picture, double birds to the plane as it was flying away. Like, what a wild scene it's been in Oxford the past.
Oh, that is going. Game Day should definitely be there because that is going to be something to see.
Yeah, and you might want to bring in the National Guard for that game right there for sure. I mean, man, it's wild. I mean, and Lane Kiffin. So I don't know. I don't understand the fascination with Lane Kiffin to where you're wanting to make him the highest paid coach in college football. What has he won in college football, Gordon? Tell me that. Tell me what he's won.
He ain't won a damn thing except for as an assistant and Nick Saban's assistant.
Yeah. Which I could go win as Nick Saban's assistant, probably. I could win a championship.
Just go on the sideline, sit on your hands, and say, I'm the offensive coordinator. I'm the defensive coordinator, and just sit there with your damn hands in your pocket. Do what he asked you to do during practice and sit with your hands in your pocket.
Make me a grad assistant. I could win a championship. Whatever.
Yeah, just keep your mouth shut and just say, yes, sir.
But do you obviously you yell with me that Lane Kiffin is a kind of overrated?
No, I'm going to no yell. Not kind of. He's highly overrated.
Okay. I like it.
I'm yelling, kind of disagreeing. I think you're giving him too much credit.
Yeah, and Ole Miss fans are like mad and upset, and it's like, hey, look, he's done this before, guys. It's not his first rodeo. He's left teams high and dry before. I forgot he went to Florida Atlantic too before that. But I mean, hey, that's.
Well, he went to Florida Atlantic for there. But he actually stayed the whole season before he went to Oxford.
Yeah, and the whole goal, Gordon, I think if I was, in sports, the whole goal is it to make the most money you can, or is it to win a champion? It's to win a championship.
Yeah, I said at Ole Miss, if he'd have won that chip, I'm pretty sure the next year he could have renegotiated his deal and probably still been the highest paid coach.
10 years from now, the Rebels will be playing in Lane Kiffin Stadium, but that ain't happening no more.
Now they're playing. Now they're going to be playing in the We Hate Lane Kiffin Stadium.
Oh man! So what a gift Lane Kiffin gave us for this podcast this week, to where we can talk about that stuff, man.
All the
drama. Can't turn a hoe into a housewife, Lane Kiffin. Anyways, Gordon, what's your next topic on Yell or No Yell?
Okay, this is what we're talking about. Stoops is out in UK. Of course, they hired a coach. They hired Willie Cauley-Stein double or something, shorter double. But if they'd have been patient and would have just let him finish out the season, they could have had somebody else, because he's got another job too. But he's not going to go there until Ohio State's out of the playoff. Brian Hartline is the new head coach of the USF Bulls, but he's staying at Ohio State until the championship's running over as an offensive coordinator. And then Kentucky would have probably got, because it is an SEC school, the one of the highest rated wide receiver recruits up there isn't committing to Ohio State because Brian Hartline's leaving. He would have went to Kentucky, a Power 4 school. They could have probably signed him, because I'm pretty sure that's why he didn't sign with Ohio State yet. He didn't commit yet.
And it's close to where his dad played professional football, Chris Henry.
Yeah.
Chris Henry Jr., just right down the road from Cincinnati. So I don't know. I'm kind of neutral on this one. There's no yell. There's no yell here. Those were my top choices once John Summerall was hired at Florida. I wanted Kentucky to go get either Will Stein or Brian Hartline. Now, Kentucky's first choice, I guess, was Will Stein, and then Brian Hartline was their second choice. And the first person they interviewed was Will Stein, and apparently he knocked the interview out of the park. So that's why they went with Will Stein. Not mad at that decision at all. It's going to be, either one of them would have been a change of pace from what Mark Stoops was. Mark Stoops is a defensive coach. A lot of Iowa football in the SEC is. Oh, excuse me. I was about to fall asleep just talking about Iowa football. At least now there'll be a little bit of entertainment here. I mean, he'll get his offense in there. And, Oregon's a fun team to watch offensively. Ohio State's also a fun team to watch offensively. I don't think Kentucky could have went wrong with either one of them if you're looking for offense. So I'm not disappointed they've got Will Stein. And I also wouldn't have been disappointed if they got Brian Hartline. I really would have liked both of them. Brian Hartline can recruit wide receivers like nobody else.
And he can recruit Florida.
And Will Stein's from Kentucky. He grew up a massive Kentucky fan. Now, he went to Louisville to play football, but he's a huge Kentucky fan from the area. He develops quarterbacks pretty good. I mean, Bo Nix was horrible out of Auburn. Transfers to Oregon, turns his whole career around. Dylan Gabriel also had a decent year at Oregon, and Denty Moore hasn't been bad this year up there. Right now, I'm kind of neutral with you, Gordon, on this one here.
I'm just thinking about some of the recruits that could have come here, and some of the lower class that's not getting a lot of time at Ohio State would have probably transferred to there too. So
yeah,
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I mean, they could have got Jeremiah Smith transferred to Kentucky. You could have followed his wide receivers coach.
His offensive coordinator. His wide receivers coach last year. He's offensive coordinator this year.
Yeah, that's right. His wide receiver. Well, but, he recruited him is what I mean.
Oh yeah.
You know, as a wide receiver. Just kidding. Actually, you know, I know he wasn't going anywhere, but you know, hey, it's fun to think, right? So my next yell or no yell is I don't know if I'm going to do that one or not. Vanderbilt beats Tennessee last week. I think Vanderbilt should have a spot in the playoff, in the college football playoff. They've got 2 losses. They lost to Texas by 3, and they lost to Alabama. No shame in losing to those 2 teams. I think you got to try to find a way to sneak them in, right? Gordon, do you agree with me on this or not? They're 14th.
Actually, I do, and I think they're too low. I think they played better than Miami. They had better losses and better wins than Miami did. Miami's biggest win was Notre Dame at the beginning of the season, whenever they was in Miami and he was playing a freshman quarterback on the road, a true freshman quarterback on the road, and that's their best win by far. And their 2 losses was to Louisville when Louisville wasn't ranked, and they got absolutely bum rushed. Who else beat them? Pitt? No, they beat Pitt.
Who's that? Miami?
Who else did Miami lose to? It was 2 unranked teams. Both of them was unranked when they lost to them.
Louisville. Let me look it up here.
I remember Louisville because I had a freaking wager on them, and they actually got blowed out.
Miami. Let's see. They beat Pitt. So when did they lose? Louisville, SMU.
Okay, they lost to SMU. SMU wasn't ranked whenever they lost them. They're ranked now, I think. They wasn't ranked when they lost them.
They lost to Cal. I think they're out of the top 25 now. SMU.
No, I'm talking about when Miami beat them. When they beat Miami, SMU wasn't ranked.
No, they was not.
And then when they lost Louisville, they wasn't ranked either, and they were heavy favorites, and they got absolutely smoked. That was a week I said that you could give double the point spread to Miami and then still cover. Carousel, and they whacked Miami. I mean, they freaking killed them. Their losses were worse than Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt had good losses, and they wasn't by a whole lot. They still had a chance to win both games they lost. No, I think Vandy should be over Miami and should be over Notre Dame too. I don't care if it's at the beginning of the season. They lost 2 games. It doesn't matter. Vandy's losses were better than both them teams' losses, and their strength of schedule was higher, and their wins are better.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say about that. That's it. Vandy should be higher. They should be no lower than 9.
Also, I want to bring up Vandy because they put a beat down on Tennessee, and it was awesome. Anyways, Gordon, what's your next topic on Yell No Yell?
Well, last topic. Players in college football. Well, I stayed in college football this time. I didn't go to the pros once. Hey. And I didn't go to WWE either, but the John Cena thing's over with.
Yeah.
Not who's facing him, but...
Oh, we already know who's facing him. I called it for months on this podcast or on the other podcasts.
Gunther.
Yep.
Well...
Try to tell you guys.
No, he's got to face...
LA Knight. He's not losing. It's Gunther. Gunther's winning that.
Oh, yeah, well, I agree. I still think it should have been somebody that needed a push. Gunther doesn't need a push. No. LA Knight, all 4 of them that was in the finals did not need a push. None of them did. They should have had people in there that needed a push and, face John. So win or lose, put on a good match, you got to push. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you.
That's what John Cena wanted.
Thought that's what he wanted too. Gage brought up a pretty good... Anyways, we'll talk about it here after our podcast before we get into it probably. But Gage sent me a pretty good scenario about it. Remind me to tell you about it after a while. But anyways, or let Gage tell you about it.
Okay, my last one. As far as pro prospects in college, I think Lemon from USC is a better prospect as wide receiver than Surratt from Indiana. He has the best around him as far as talent, and he still does just as much as Surratt does when he's on the field.
Man, I'm kind of sour on Lemon. After the other day where he had like 32 yards receiving because I had him in like one of my parlays and he just had a bad game. So, I mean, that's only that. But I agree with you. I think he is actually a better prospect for the pros than Surratt is. I think both of them are going to be decent out there, but he's got less around him, like you said, and he's the best player they've got every time he steps onto the field for the most part in most games. He's definitely the best player on his team. And so I'm going to yell with you on this one, but kind of want to no yell because he messed up my parlay. But Jeremiah Smith messed mine up too, and I still think he's the best wide receiver in the country. But so, I could be forgiving, I guess.
Yeah, well, man, I was just thinking one day, just now, whenever you said that, Man, what if Ohio State could have had Lemon as well? Tate, Lemon, and Smith all on the same team.
You've got too much talent already. All right, Gordon. I mean, come on now. You want?
I want all the best players, man. I want to go into a game and be able to sit back and eat and drink pop and not have to worry about pacing and killing my ankles, walking back across the floor, walking a hole in my floor. I don't want to do that all the time.
Oh man, throwing sponges at the TV.
Yeah, my foam bricks. I declared them foam bricks because it doesn't have the same mental effect if I say sponges. But once I threw the word bricks in there and I threw them, I feel better. I'm throwing the same thing, but just mentally I'm saying, no, these are bricks.
So my last yell or no yell topic here is, well, actually, it's not really much of a topic. It's not much of a yell or no yell, but it's kind of a, I want to I don't know, brag here a little bit. Me and you both called a pretty big upset last week. There was a little team in the SEC that was undefeated all season long, and we didn't talk about it a whole lot, that we kind of disrespected, it seemed like. And last week on this here podcast, me and you both said that Texas, this was one of my topics, Texas is going to go and beat Texas A&M and end the streak. Well, call Texas Brock Lesnar because the streak was defeated. They were the one in 11-1 against Texas A&M. Gordon, man, I mean, we just know Stradamus is over here or what? I mean, come on, look at that.
I don't know, but I'll tell you what, though. I was sitting there watching some of the highlights, and they was highlights.
Yeah.
That last play when Arch Manning broke, one tackle at the line and 2 tackles before the goal and got in, that was some big boy football there now.
Shows his potential.
It shows his potential. No, he didn't do it by throwing the ball. Quarterbacks do a lot of running now. They're just not pocket passers anymore. So he played some big boy football. I mean, he might have made some bad throws.
Right.
But he made the play when it counted.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but yeah, we called it. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, not really much of a yell or no yell topic there, but little brag, little Barry Horowitz right here. Just on the back.
Pat on the back, yeah.
So that'll do it. That'll do it for our yell or no yell segment here. Gordon, before we get into our picks for the week, I want to go over some of the coaching carousel. It's been spinning round and round and round and round. So let's go on. Let's start with it here. Coastal Carolina fires head coach Tim Beck, who went 6-6. Man, if 6-6 is bad for Coastal Carolina to fire the coach, man, they've got some high expectations there now, huh?
Well, the past few years they've been doing better than that. They've been like 9-3, and one year they was 11-1. They was 10-2. I mean, for Coastal Carolina, now don't get me wrong, I think they stepped up a little bit, but they played with them that conference a couple times and won. Doesn't mean you can do it every week when you're in that conference.
They play in the Fun Belt, so.
Yeah, they played in the Fun Belt, but I think last year they wasn't in the Fun Belt, was they?
I think this is like their second year in there. I think they may be in. I can't remember what conference they was in before that, but they're in the Fun Belt now. And then Tulane, John Sumrall, he's out. He went to Florida. That was a big deal for me because that's who I was wanting Kentucky to get to begin with. He's a Kentucky guy. Florida's got him. I think Florida's got a pretty good one. They're taking Kentucky's defensive coordinator, Brad White, has been hired at Florida to go with John Sumrall.
Well, he was probably going because he probably thought, well, the next coach ain't going to hire me anyway, so ain't going to retain me. So he just went ahead and went. Can't really blame him. He did what you got to secure your future.
Yeah, and then Memphis, Ryan Silverfield's out. He's hired by Arkansas. I don't know how. I mean, Arkansas, I don't know what they know what they're doing or not there,
No, I don't. No, what they need is somebody that knows defense and knows how to scout defense and find players because Arkansas, if they'd have had any form of a defense, they'd have had a hell of a record because they could put points up on just about anybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's the one that kind of surprised me, Gordon. Jim Mora leaving UConn to go to Colorado State. Kind of surprising.
It had to be for at least better weather for at least 3 months out of the year.
Yeah, that could be it.
Then Brian Hartline went to USF. We talked about that earlier.
Oh yeah, I'm getting to it.
I'm going to watch USF next year. I want to see what kind of an offense he puts on out there.
Yeah. Here's another one kind of surprised me. Cal, Justin Wilcox out. They went 7-5 this season. I mean, that's good for Cal. Like, come on.
That's really good for Cal.
Other than Aaron Rodgers and Jared Goff, and Marshawn Lynch, do we ever talk Cal football?
Well, and Well, when Aaron Rodgers there, Deshaun Jackson was one of his receivers.
Yeah, Deshaun Jackson too. But I mean, when's the last time you thought about Cal?
That's about when.
Penn State still hasn't found a coach. Like, what are they doing? Like, James Franklin's gone, but they've swung and missed several times this year already.
Somebody made a pitch for them to go after somebody. Ben Roethlisberger.
Oh yeah, I seen that. Him and James Harrison
said that Mike Tomlin ought to go there.
That's a good.
Now, I'd say Mike Tomlin can recruit the shit out of talent.
That's a good little subject I may bring up on the next podcast we have. You know what I mean?
Okay, we'll drop it now just in case he's.
Yeah.
In case he sneaks a peek and watches.
So Billy Napier is hired as James Madison's coach because their coach is hired at UCLA, Bob Chesney.
Chisholm.
I mean,
Chesney. Kenny's brother?
It's Kenny's uncle, I think.
Okay. Kenny Chesney's uncle. All right. Maybe Kenny Chesney will put up a concert there, and I might actually watch one of their games.
We've mentioned Brian Hartline, hired from Ohio State. That's because their coach, Alex Golish, hired at Auburn.
Well, USF was a pretty damn good team.
They have been, yeah.
Now, they had a few letdowns, but it wasn't because they couldn't score points. It's because they couldn't stop nobody.
Yeah.
The teams that were scoring on them, they couldn't stop them.
And I think they played Alabama twice since he's been there, and have played Alabama pretty close both times.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe that's why Auburn's like, hey, let's get this guy.
Yeah. He knows how to play Bama.
Yeah. Then next you've got North Texas hires Neil Brown, and they hire Neil Brown, former Kentucky offensive coordinator, former West Virginia coach. They hire Neil Brown because their head coach, Eric Morris, goes to Oklahoma State to take over for Mike Gundy.
The mullet. The mullet man.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Do you think Mestemaker will transfer to Oklahoma State to follow his coach?
Yeah, I think he will.
Because if so, Oklahoma State's got a hell of a quarterback coming.
Yep. I mean, they're the number one offense this season with 503 yards per game. They scored 50 at least 6 times. There was a Friday night game that me and you watched between them and USF, and they were kind of disappointing there, but they looked good the rest of the year.
Yeah, they were disappointing in scoring 36 points. They lost 63-36.
Yeah, that's why it was disappointing.
Their defense was disappointing. He wasn't disappointing.
No.
I think he threw a pick.
Yeah. One of the more fun games of the season on a Friday night, for sure.
It was by far one of the best Friday night games.
Yes.
I mean, when it comes to the group of 5 schools.
Yeah, absolutely. My team, the Kentucky Wildcats, hire Will Stein. Mark Stoops fired, and the next day, coaching search pretty quick.
Willie,
we talked about him. I like the hire. I think it's going to be, a fresh coat of paint for the Kentucky Wildcats and the offenses. And Cutter Bowley's development, I think, will also because he needs to develop a little bit more. He missed some throws he could have hit, but he's got the potential. I think he just needs some guidance. So, yeah, I like it all right.
They need to tell Calzone, you might as well just retire. You might as well just graduate because you ain't getting paid again.
Yeah, go to a backyard league or something. Michigan State hires Pat Fitzgerald, former Northwestern coach, after firing their coach, Jonathan Smith.
Well, Michigan State was kind of a letdown this year. They was really bad. Well, they've been bad for a few years. They've been bad for, who was their coach at the time? Was it D'Antoni?
Oh, then they had Mel Tucker.
Yeah, Mel Tucker's at USF, then went to Michigan State. He was a bigger flop than D'Antonio's last year.
And then Johnson. Yeah, D'Antonio.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he had some good seasons, but the players he had was good. He had Kirk Cousins, D'Antonio. The years he's good, he had him. He had Le'Veon Bell was his running back. They had a couple other good backs that went to the NFL and kicked ass for a while. But after that, he kind of fell off the cliff. And then Mel Tucker just come in there and say, okay, I'll take the job. I'll sign the contract and make the money. Oh, where's that cliff? Over here. Let me just go ahead and jump off of it now. Because he absolutely was horrible. And then when they have 2 coaches since, or 1 or 2, something like that.
I think it's the first one.
Because they've been horrible.
But Pat Fitzgerald coming from Northwestern, he had Northwestern as a decent program up there.
Yeah. And then he had that scandal and he had to quit.
Yeah.
He had a single.
Yeah. Ole Miss, they got Pete Golding, as we mentioned, because their head coach left. Then let's see, who else have we got here? Any other ones to name that's James Franklin goes to Virginia Tech. We talked about that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. But I mean, a lot of stuff going around the carousel there for college football. Carousel spinning.
The carousel will make you dizzy if you try to follow it too long.
Yeah. All right, Gordon. So that's that little part there. Let's go on now. We've got some championship games to talk about. Let's go ahead and get into our picks here, and let's start it out with the Sun Belt Championship, or as it's affectionately known, the Fun Belt. Troy against the James Madison Dukes, I think they are.
Yes, the Dukes. Put up your Dukes. Yeah.
James Madison is a 23.5-point favorite. Kenny Chesney's brother or uncle or cousin, I believe, is sticking around, maybe, or did I read that wrong? I can't remember. Gordon, what do we think here in this one? Can Troy cover?
That's a lot of points. That is a lot of points. I think James Madison can win. I think they're a better team. But 24, they'd have to win by 24 to cover in a championship game is a lot of points. Troy's not that bad. No, I think James Madison's going to win comfortably, but not by 24.
I've watched a little bit of James Madison this year. Not much, obviously. I mean, they played some Tuesday, Wednesday night games earlier in the season where it's like, oh, okay, in October. I think James Madison wins this game, but I'm with you here. I don't think that they cover 23.5's a lot. Troy's in the championship game. They're 8-4. Not too bad for them, but James Madison wins. They win comfortably, like you said. Maybe by about 21 is what I'm thinking. But 24, I think it's a little much. And that's the biggest spread that we've got on this championship week right here. So we're getting the hard stuff out early, right? No. So the next matchup we've got the Conference USA Championship. Kennesaw State. Man, I try to guess these mascots and I can't remember. The Kennesaw State Owls. That you're right. It is the Owls. Good call. Against the Jacksonville State Gamecocks, that's it. I was going to say Jaguars.
They're feeling cocky in this game.
Conference USA Championship, Kennesaw is a 2.5-point favorite. Gordon, what do we think about the Conference USA Championship?
And I'll be the first one to admit, haven't watched much on either one of these two teams. But from what I have seen from Kennesaw State, they put up points and they put them up in bunches. I don't know about the defense because most of the games, the other team put up points in bunches too, unless they were really terrible. I think they played UMass once, and that was the game where they didn't put up much points, but that's not saying a whole lot. So I think 3 points. I think Kennesaw State wins, and they cover this spread.
So this is another one of these teams that come on Tuesday and Wednesday in October. Conference USA. I can tell you right now, I watched 0 Kennesaw State, watched a Jacksonville State game. And so for that reason, and because it says JAX and, Jax, one of the kids, I'm going to go with Jacksonville State. Give me Jacksonville State to win this one. Jacksonville State wins, and they cover because they're the dogs in this one. We can't do it this week. We can't do it on this episode because there is none. There is none, so we can't do it. So I'm gonna refrain from it. But give me Jacksonville State to win this.
You can't roll your catchphrase out there.
I can't on this one. I can't. It's awful. So the next championship we're going to, and it's the American Championship. Number 24, the North Texas Mean Green face the Tulane Green Wave. Battle of some green teams here. Gordon, what do you think here? This has got playoff implications, by the way. Sorry.
Oh yeah. Well, on this one right here, I mean, North Texas is 24. Tulane is number 20. Evidently, Tulane is technically the road team. Or no, they're the home team because
they're the home team. It's in Louisiana.
Well, they're technically the home team because but anyway, so I'm taking the Road Dogs because it's being played in Louisiana. North Texas, Tulane's in Louisiana. So technically, I'm taking North Texas and Road Dogs because I've seen a few of their games. And Mestemaker is a hell of a quarterback. I'm taking the Dogs.
Well,
are the favorite to me.
Okay, I was gonna say you're confusing me because they're not the Dogs in this one. But man, I thought we may have differed on this one. John Summerall's going to Florida. Eric Morris is going to Oklahoma State. I think both of these guys are coaching in this game. They didn't quit on their team that may be a chance going to playoffs. Hello, Lane Kiffin. I think that I'm with you. You go with who's the better quarterback between the two when they're pretty much even, and they are. And that's Mestemaker for North Texas. I've got North Texas winning this one, and I've got North Texas covering the spread easily. I think they win by a touchdown or 10 points. Tulane's got like one loss in the season, maybe two. They got two losses. This is going to be the third, and John Summerall can skip the bowl game and head on to Florida because he won't be playoff bound. Give me the North Texas Green Green, Mean Gene Oakland.
They're going to leave the green wave green with envy.
And now we go out west, young man. The Mountain West Championship. The UNLV Running Rebels face the Boise State Broncos. Boise's a 4.5-point favorite. Gordon, what do we think here?
Is this game being played in Boise?
I'm not sure. Let me look it up here and see.
I was thinking the Mountain Championship game most years is played in Boise. I know the famous Ohio Potato Bowl is, but
yeah. Boise State. It's on Fox. It is at. You kidding me? Yeah, it's at Boise.
Well, then that solidifies that I got Boise State the home favorites, and I got them covering. UNLV's a good team, but on that blue turf, they're a tough team to play against.
So UNLV, coached by Dan Mullen, used to coach Florida, used to coach Mississippi State. He was on Kentucky's short list of coaching candidates. He's a pretty good coach. Not bad. I mean, Florida wasn't horrible. It's just that he lost to Mark Stoops, and Mark Stoops was the Grim Reaper for middle tier to lower tier SEC coaches during his tenure. Anytime you lost to Mark Stoops, it was the death of your coaching career for that team. That's what happened to Dan Mullen. But he's been decent at UNLV. They're a fun team to kind of watch offensively. Not bad. Boise, I know it's on the blue field and everything, but I'm going with this game's at Boise. Give me the road dog, Jesse James. The UNLV Running Rebels come in and they win this game and they cover because of that. So give me the Running Rebs. I got to do it. I'm glad I looked it up to see.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. And now we move to the next championship game, and it is the Big 12 championship. The number 11 BYU Cougars face the number 4 Texas Tech Red Raiders. Texas Tech's a 12.5-point favorite. Gordon, what do you think?
Okay, this is a revenge game sort of for Brigham Young University. I got to say a certain person's favorite school, but I'm not going to say that. That's a bad joke now. Not as funny as it used to be. It is to me, but it's not to everybody else. But Texas Tech handed BYU the only loss this year for them, and it was not only the only loss, but it was an ass whooping.
Mm-hmm.
By every metric you could put it, it was a beatdown. I don't think it's going to be that much of a beatdown. I'm going to take Texas Tech to win, but I don't think they'll cover the 12.5. I think it's going to be closer.
BYU has won every game, but the one against Texas Tech has looked dominant in the Big 12. They've played great. They've had a great season. They're a legit team. I mean, they deserve to be in this college football playoff. I think that they win, and I think it's another beatdown against BYU. I just don't think BYU's a good matchup for Texas Tech. And I think that that's the difference in this right here. Give me Texas Tech. Give me Texas Tech by 2 touchdowns in this game. A game that should be competitive on paper won't be, and this is going to be the one that kicks BYU out of the college football playoff for certain. Let's go to the MAC championship, Gordon, and the Miami, Ohio Redhawks facing the Western Michigan Broncos. Western Michigan's a 2.5-point favorite. I'm pretty sure this game's at Ford Field, so there's the Michigan connection there. What do we think here, Gordon, on this one?
Okay, now this one here, I think this one here is a coin flip game. I really do. It's not necessarily in Western Michigan, but it is. I think the MAC is played in Ford Field in Michigan. So this time I can say this is correct. I am taking the road dog, Jesse James, because Miami High is the underdogs this time. I messed up last time. Have been up since 4, so bear with me. I will make a mistake. I do read the teleprompters wrong from time to time.
Sorry, sometimes the idiot that puts the teleprompters up messes up too, so don't worry about it.
You didn't. That time it was all me. But I got Miami Ohio winning. Most of the time they play well when they shouldn't, and they play like garbage when they shouldn't. That probably explains why their record is what it is. I mean, they got a good record, but not like they have had. They've had like 10-win seasons, digit win seasons a few times. Not this year, but I got the Red Squawks. I got the Red Squawks winning, and of course they don't need to cover.
So Miami, Ohio, they have a quarterback, DeQuan Finn, went to one of them Texas teams last year, maybe even Texas Tech. Didn't play a whole lot. The year before, he went to Toledo and was a starter for Toledo. Now he's starting in Miami. He was a pretty decent quarterback back then. And then they had a running back that was there that year, Penny Boone. They were pretty decent, Toledo was. That's about all I know about Miami. So with that being said, this game's in Michigan, the Western Michigan Broncos. Give me them to win this game. I think they win. I think they cover by about a field goal. This is a toss-up game. It could go either way. So, yeah, I'm going to go with that. Give me Western Michigan. But to be honest with you, I didn't watch much action this year at all.
I didn't watch any action.
Yeah. Although I used to catch some action. I watched more of the Conference USA and Fun Belt that was going on in October than I did any of the action this year. So it was weird.
I watched a lot of the Conference USA because North Texas was in there, and that's a fun team to watch. Period.
Yeah. Well, North Texas, they're in the American, ain't they?
Yeah. American.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the next matchup we've got, and this is a pretty big one here, the SEC Championship. Number 3, Georgia Bulldogs. Number 9, Alabama Crimson Tide. Georgia's a 2.5-point favorite in the SEC Championship. Gordon, I think I may know where you may be going with this pick.
And you know why I'm going in that direction.
Yep.
I got Georgia winning simply because I got a parlay riding on it. Don't get me wrong, Georgia, if you balance everything out, their team is a little better. I think Kirby Smart's message might be getting a little stale. But as far as talent, I think all across the board, we're pretty even in some spots, but Georgia's a little better in a couple others. Alabama might be better in one or two. But I think overall, I think Georgia's got the better team. Alabama did not kill them last time. So this is a revenge game. I got Georgia coming out on top this time.
So, man, this one should be a pretty good one. I don't know if either one of these teams are really all that good, But anytime these two teams play, it's an instant classic, right? I mean, they're always entertaining games. These things can go either way. Georgia lost to Alabama in overtime earlier in the season by 3. Alabama and Georgia, I mean, it seems like they swapped some wins during playoffs. They played in national championships against each other. They play SEC championships against each other. These two teams know each other, even though there's a different coach on one side over there. There's still some of the same players. If I pick against the Tide, I'm going to hear about it.
Oh, I know. Well, you go ahead.
I'm going to hear about it. But I think that Georgia gets their revenge in this game. Maybe she's not listening to this, but I think Georgia wins this game right here. Give me the Dogs to win and give me the Dogs to cover in what should be a really entertaining SEC championship game. And also, this knocks Alabama out of the playoffs. So, give me the Dogs. All right. So, the next matchup we've got on here. Boy, should I've saved this one for last, but it's just the way the schedule worked. The Big Ten Championship. The number 2 Indiana Hoosiers. The number 1 Ohio State Buckeyes. Ohio State's a 4-point favorite. Gordon, this right here is the biggest championship game of the week, of course. Huge playoff implications here. You win, you get a bye. You lose, you're probably playing in the first week of the playoffs. Gordon, I'm pretty sure I may know where you're going with this one, but tell me what you think here. Are you nervous? That's my question. Are you nervous about this game?
This one, yes, because Indiana's got the talent. It's got more talent than what we've seen collectively across the board all year, except for maybe Texas as far as defense. Texas may be the best defense we've run across.
Yeah.
I mean, look how they played most. Yeah, there's some games that got away from them, but I think they gave up after a couple. Whenever the offense couldn't do a damn thing, I think they gave up a couple. But I got Ohio State, and I think it's more than just a heart bet. Ohio State's defense is also better than anything Indiana's seen so far this year. I mean, they've shut down teams that now I know the common opponent is one of the common opponents is two of the common opponents is Illinois. Now they trashed Illinois, and Ohio State beat Illinois, beat them bad too, but they allowed points and Indiana didn't. The other common opponent is Penn State. Penn State nearly beat them and should have beat them, and Ohio State mopped the floor with them. So you can't really go by common opponents. It's styles make fights. Ohio State's defense is the type of defense that they haven't seen yet. You don't run on them, and so you can't get play action pass started very well. So give me Ohio State, and that's about as far as I'm going with that.
So these two teams right here, I mean, if you look at both schedules, not the strongest schedule for either team. I mean, it's fair to say for both of them. The Big Ten's been kind of down. It's very top heavy, but the rest of the Big Ten, after you get past like the 6 team, not good. But both of these teams really good. Everybody's been waiting on this matchup. They've been, coming to a head this whole season. They've been on a, warpath to each other. Both of these teams head to head. It's like the irresistible force meets the immovable object, right? I mean, that's the way this is coming down to right here. Indiana has been dominant in some games. They've squeaked a few games by. They've went out to Oregon, and they kind of dominated Oregon, which is a top 10 team who's making the playoff. Ohio State has dominated everybody, except for Texas. That was a close game. Michigan kind of played them a little close. But for the most part, Ohio State really hasn't had much of a challenge. This right here is their biggest challenge to date. Also, this is Indiana's biggest challenge to date. Number 2 versus number 1. This is what you want in a conference championship game right here. This is what you want for like a national championship game. This game is going to be big. This game is going to be huge. It's going to be close, but I cannot sit here and pick against Ohio State. They haven't proven me wrong yet. I've rolled with them every game this year. I've got Ohio State winning once again. And I got an Indiana cover, though. I think it's going to be a field goal game. This is going to be Ohio State's closest game of the season. And if they do happen to beat Indiana down pretty good, do we really even believe in Indiana anymore? Do we need to give them that big of a high ranking? Because this is their toughest test, their biggest game. But they've earned the number 2 spot. But if they get beat down, I just feel like they're kind of fraudulent a little bit. But I can't go against Ohio State. So I've got you. I got you, Ohio State here, Gordon.
I won't pick cover or not because it's bad omen.
And the final championship game we've got, the ACC championship. Duke and the number 17, the Duke Blue Devils, and the number 17 Virginia Cavaliers. Virginia's a 3.5-point favorite. Gordon, we've said for weeks, who wants to win the ACC? Pitt, nah, we don't want to win it. Miami, nah, we don't want to win it. Louisville, they were in there at 1 point. Nah, we don't want to win it. Georgia Tech, come on. No, we don't want. Hey, Duke, how about you with your 7-5 record come into this championship game? Oh, yeah, sure, we'll take it. Jeez. Anyways, so if Duke wins this championship, you know what that means, right?
No ACC teams.
No ACC team is in there. So what do you think here, Gordon? What are you thinking in this one?
I've watched Virginia play a little. I mean, their games are snooze fest. Even the close games, it's like so. And I've watched a Duke game, rather entertaining. I like because they can score sometimes, and they can play good defense. They play good defense quite a bit. I mean, there's some teams that they just couldn't defend because I've always said if you can't defend every style, the minute a style comes in that you can't defend, they're going to mop the floor with you, and that's what's happened. But I don't think Virginia plays that style. Virginia plays a style that Duke can play against, play well. So I'm predicting there is no ACC teams in the playoff. I got Duke winning, and they don't need to cover.
So
I don't know where they're playing, but I got Duke winning.
So
I got the dog.
3 weeks ago, Virginia beat Duke 34-17. But this could be the perfect spot for a revenge game for Duke. Duke comes out, and if they win, they're the ACC champs. Like, what? Where did that come from? The 7-5 team is ACC champs. What does that tell me? That tells me that your conference probably sucks. That's exactly what that says. All your teams are garbage in the ACC, and there's a good reason why none of them should be in this playoff. Give it to a Vanderbilt or something. Vandy is hoping that Duke wins this championship. I'm hoping that Duke wins this championship because I want the chaos of no ACC school getting in there. Don't give it to them. And while you're at it, go ahead and take away the group of 5 bid too, because none of them teams deserve to be in there too at their ranking that they're in. So
the only group of 5 school that I would vote, that I would say, no, go ahead and let them be in, and that's North Texas. Because they may not win, but they will make it interesting and make it fun to watch.
That's true, but at the same time, if you put them in over a Vanderbilt, Vanderbilt's also fun to watch as well. I mean, I'm just saying. Just saying. But let's go for chaos. Let's have some chaos here. Let's keep the ACC out of the playoff. Duke wins and spoils it for the rest of the conference. Give the Blue Devils.
Why you lose, Duke win, and that knocks 2 teams out, and that allows North Texas and Vandy to squeak in. So they'll put Notre Dame and
Texas,
the Miami VDs in there.
they put Texas in over Vanderbilt, that would be a shame.
Then they're just saying it's just because of Texas.
Yep, that's it. But yeah, so man, that is our picks and that is our topics. Should be a good weekend of championship games. Gordon, really looking forward to Saturday night in Indianapolis for the Big Ten championship. It should be a good one.
I'm not working this weekend, damn it. I'm watching.
So it should be good to watch. Good games all around. And man, next week we're only gonna have one game to pick next week, so it's going to be a little bit different. So that'll do it for us here on this here episode of the podcast. And thanks for checking us out. And we will catch you all in the next one.
See you later.